It's one of those days.
Hey everybody, welcome to In Production. We've got good audio. I can see it, it's loud. We're back in fashion with this loud audio. We have our patent pending Scotch tape microphone, Scotch brand microphone holders.
Yep. Scotch.
Scotch. I like Scotch. Scotchy, Scotchy, Scotch. Hope everybody's doing okay. So, yeah, here we are. Sorry we're a little frazzled. I know that's par for the course. I don't even have the Chatsky box working yet.
Oh yeah, you don't.
Today is my grandmother's 95th birthday, and they had her birthday party at 1:30, so I had to zip over to that and take care of my grandmother's birthday and hang out with her and see her and hug her neck and all that stuff. 95 years, man. That is a long time. That is a very long time. So, on today's show, a couple of things we're going to talk about. We're fairly busy, so the office is a wreck because we've literally not unpacked any of our gear. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is directing scenes. We get asked that question a lot about blocking and directing, and I just kind of wanted to do a little bit of work on it. I worked with some actors this weekend on a project they wanted, and so I'm going to take that time to show you guys talk about blocking a scene. So we'll approach it from a directorial perspective on thinking about blocking and choices made and all this kind of stuff, and making, you'll see. Let's see if you pick up on one. One of them I made a very clear choice, very obvious choice, very controversial choice to some, and so we have that. We also are going to talk about the new Alexa, or the Arri Alexa LF. Yeah, the LF. Which Jeff is pretty jacked about. I like it. Yeah, it's pretty epic. It's a new camera.
Never work with it, but
you don't say that.
Oh, no.
Let's be positive. It's a new camera with new lenses, which are insane. Yeah. So we'll talk about some of that. Plus, we have some cool footage that they posted that we're going to repost. Let you guys take a look at that. We also have. We're also going to talk about a new Teradek function, or new Teradek gimmick
product. I
don't know if it's new though, right?
It's not new, but it's new for Teradek.
Yeah, it's new for Teradek, so it's pretty awesome. Again, it's an awesome piece of gear. So we'll kind of jump into that stuff and talk about all of these things. We also do have, just for funsies, we will also do our absolute favorite game that we love to call CRFTSHO Against Humanity, because that's right, folks. We have two cameras going. Once again. The audio probably changes because I haven't figured out how to map the audio correctly, but we have two cameras going at this time. Hopefully our mic packs don't die on us. Yeah. Is the LUT active? I guess it is.
Yes, the LUTs are active.
I was just curious.
Both.
How's everybody doing out there? You know, first off, I've got to say to our dear friend MPEG, congratulations, sir.
True.
On them goals.
True.
Going.
If he's still here.
Yeah.
Because he said he can't stick around today.
Oh, he can't stick around. No worries. But congratulations on Philadelphia Eagles in winning their first Super Bowl, technically.
First Super Bowl.
Yeah. They technically won their first Super Bowl, so congratulations. Very, very happy for them. I watch the Super Bowl these days. If the Saints ain't in it, which is most of the time since 2012. But if the Saints ain't, then I watch for commercials because I find it to be a very interesting way to kind of look at what the upcoming trends are.
It's kind of the big deal.
It's kind of the barometer.
It is. That and movie trailers.
And of course movie trailers. Yeah, of course the Solo trailer being the one that I was most excited to see. I didn't even know it was coming out.
There's those other ones.
Yeah, I mean,
came out as
whatever. Mission Impossible looks pretty fun.
Oh, it looks great.
Yeah. I could care less about Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park looks decent compared to Scrapper, whatever you want.
Skyscraper. I think that's Rampage, a secret prequel to Rampage. Now, the greatest thing that happened during the Super Bowl was the fact that you and I, days before, watched a trailer for a Crocodile Dundee sequel that turns out that it is not a sequel and is, in fact, nothing. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Oh, you gave the look like, I saw MPEG posted, and then you gave a look like you were about to tell me something was wrong. But the Crocodile Dundee movie was not happening. It was actually a giant advertisement for Australia.
Commercial to me.
Absolutely genius. That and the Tide commercial were brilliant to me. Absolutely love the Tide commercial.
Definitely.
So we're talking about drinking. I'm having water because I had a few beers this weekend and I'm still on my diet, kind of. So I am not. Jeff, on the other hand, is drinking something epically delicious.
I am drinking Evil Twin Molotov Surprise, which actually we can go to this camera if you want.
Oh yeah. Hold on. To the beer cam. Bam! To the beer cam.
There it is.
Dang it. There.
This is,
There we go. Two cameras.
This is my drink before I kind of go onto a diet myself.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Next week we might be drinking water.
You never know. Sometimes it's nice to have a little escape. Little escape.
Yeah.
That's how it works. I don't know what's going on in the Chatski because I did not get it set up
yet.
But I will get it going here while Jeff tells me what's going on in the Chatski.
Oh,
how's that?
Yeah, MPEG's, his son is competing at the U.S. Bouldering Nationals this week.
Whoa, that's awesome, man.
Yep, wish him luck. We do. Good luck. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's epic, man.
Stuff. They do a whole big YouTube cast of Youth Nationals. That's awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Let's get the old Chatski going.
Real Aaron Collins is here.
Hello, Real Aaron Collins. Good to see you, sir. I still have not sent you your prize package. That should tell you some things about me as a human being.
What camera was that you put the card against?
Oh, we have 2 GH5s running on this stuff.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. 2 GH5s.
2 GH5s.
Popskis. There we go. Little Chatski dynamic going on here. Let me get.
Thanks. Wait, I think that's supposed to be later, y'all.
See you, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks again, man. Talk to you online.
Good luck again.
Yeah. Godspeed. All that stuff.
Wowee, Australia's full of Australians, though. The only downside.
Oh yeah, of course, because he's a Kiwi.
Exactly.
They have a lovely rivalry. You know what? You know what? Pro tip.
They do.
And while we will appreciate this, pro tip: make sure that when you meet a Kiwi, you call them an Aussie. They appreciate it more than anything on earth. That's a little. When working with Kiwis, make sure to call them Aussies or Roos. You can call them a Roo. They appreciate that as well.
You can only imagine.
Baby Seal Troll forcing it.
No.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
I forgot who it was last week, so we didn't press no button, but
yeah,
we did.
We did. I don't know if they can hear it because we currently only have lavs. Yeah, there's no boom this time. We kind of ran into some problems.
Yeah. Well, we ran into a grandmother birthday.
Yep. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. 95 years, man. She has dementia, so I don't know if she even knew I was there, but she smiled, and then we talked about, she has the best, she used to make the, my granddad was a shrimper, and so she used to make the best fried shrimp, so, you know, that's a good memory for her, so we triggered that and kind of, that, and then as soon as you gave her a piece of cake, you know, when they have dementia at this point, it's like giving it to a 3-year-old.
Oh, no,
and so she was like face first into this cake. Yep. I mean, you know, it's sad and funny at the same time. So it is life, right? It is what it is, and you just deal with it and move on and accept it. But thank you guys very much for wishing her happy birthday. Yeah, her name is spelled Viola, like you would spell voila. So I always think it's funny. Her name is Voila.
It is. Actually,
it's like someone had a baby and they're like, voila, you had a baby.
Yep.
I'll just call her Vi. Anyway, yeah, that's how it works. Or V. VV. We worked with the VV once.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about some things first and foremost. Let's jump into. We'll talk about the Alexa?
We can talk about the Alexa if you want to.
Why don't you just give us the rundown, or do we want to show the little footage first and talk about it?
We can show the footage because it's it might be. I mean, it's good test footage.
It is good test. It may be we've all been familiar with camera test footage in the world, but this might be some of the best you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah, they put out all the stops with all 5 of their tests that they did.
Yeah.
This one's by somebody that next couple weeks might have an Oscar.
That's true. That's very true. I'm going to shrink the Chatski. I'm going to leave it up for this video because I've done this purposefully, but I'm going to shrink the Chatski ever so slightly, and then we will launch the footage. Are you guys ready to see some Alexa LF footage? You probably have already seen it. If you haven't, this is your first chance into it. This is where the big boys and big girls have fun playing with epic toys. Here we go. All right, so there, whoa, feedback.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, hit the feedback button.
Yeah,
so there you go. So there's some of the new Alexa LF footage, and we chose that one. They actually released 5 videos?
5 of them, yeah.
They put out 5 different videos for you to kind of see different aspects of it. That's how I suggest a camera test should be done, is like show as much content as you can. Like, you know, because I'm not just looking at daylight exterior. In this one, we chose daylight exterior because, excuse me, because we know so many people, particularly on this channel, shoot a lot of daylight exterior stuff, and we thought it would be relevant, make it a little more approachable for what you may or may not know as a videographer or shooter or camera operator, whatever. But I also like to see skin tone pieces. I'd like to see the lighting elements, nighttime elements.
Right. He said check out the one of trees at night.
Yeah,
all 5 of them are amazing.
Yeah, they're absolutely amazing. And it's not to say that you can't get to that point. Don't mistake it. The reason that those DPs got to that point is because they shot all the time. They were filming constantly.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think vlogging is maybe the right answer, but it's not the wrong answer. If you're constantly shooting something, you're doing something.
Yeah, you're still shooting.
Yeah, it's content. You're filming. You're working at it. You're working on the process. So can you kind of tell us some of the specs on it that you looked up on it?
Trev's right. It's there's actually 2 maybe 3. There's possibly 3 cameras that came out with this amount, but yeah, it's supposed to be 16 stops of dynamic range. Panavision DXL also came out. DXL2 came out, and it has 16 plus stops.
Good grief.
Yeah. So it's 16 stops. It incorporates Preston straight into it with their new mount.
Right.
It's that's the downfall for this camera, I guess, is that it's a LPL mount, which stands for large PL mount.
Okay.
Brilliant.
So it has like the data going through it plus?
Yeah, it has all the data going through it. You can control iris, even zoom, and focus.
So it's all internal?
All internal, all through the internal motors of the lenses.
Holy smokes.
But I mean, already released their signature primes with it, which are made for the LPL mount. Right. Which that was shot with. I think all of them are shot with LPLs.
And it mounts to like a Preston or something?
Yeah, the Preston, the Preston receiver is internal now, so it goes straight to the lenses.
Good grief.
And all you have to do is just have your handset if you're a Preston user.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know what we're talking about, Preston is a type of follow focus. It has multi-wheels, so you can kind of do a variety of things with it.
I'm shocked I have not heard if the Arri WCU4 works with it, which is their wireless system.
I'm sure it probably does.
I think they would integrate it with it as well.
But Preston's like an industry standard.
Yeah, Preston is a standard.
I mean, and
WC4 is behind it, C-Motion behind it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Preston is the standard.
And so the fact that you now have these lenses, if you think about it, they've really just kind of done, they've almost made them like photography lenses in some weird way, and that all of that stuff being internalized like that is, I mean, they essentially have not rehoused, but I mean, they've made big format photography lenses.
Pretty much. My thing is, I really see it as, you have the Lexus 65.
Yep.
Which is truly a large format.
Sure, sure.
And then I would personally, with the new LPL mount, it reminds me of Stills 35 large format, medium format.
Right.
I think this is kind of the medium format range where you have to get whole new lenses and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But somebody will make a PL to a LPL mount, which would be ridiculous.
Wooden camera, we're looking at you.
Yeah, probably.
Wooden camera will be the first one to market. They probably got the specs, figured out a way to rip it off on this video. Like, I got it, and boop, and then they're on it. Those guys always. Wooden camera seems to have. I mean, they have a great product, but they seem to roll this stuff out so epically well.
They do. The other interesting one was I was looking at the Panavision literally when you walked in right before we started, the DXL2, which now uses the 8K Monstro sensor.
Wow.
With light iron color science still.
Yeah.
But it supposedly will do 8K 60 frames a second.
Wow.
While doing 4K ProRes proxies for you.
Yeah.
So you have 4K proxies for edit and 8K RAW for.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah.
Now, Trev just posted something about the price. Let's talk about the price. No one buys an Alexa.
Well, the quote I saw was, if you freak out over the price, then it's not made for you.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing, is no one buys, like, at the end of the day, nobody really buys an Alexa. I mean, they might buy like an Amira or an older Alexa package.
Buy an Amira or a Mini.
Yeah, and a Mini, sure. Yeah. But like at the end of the day, these cameras are not necessarily. I'm not going to go shoot an interview unless I'm getting exactly. And then it's covered under a rental house. I mean, it just makes more sense. Like then you don't have the overhead of having a 150, what is it, 170,000 plus a lens set.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking about serious.
I mean, this one's a 4K. It's a true 4K camera, which is the one thing I forgot to mention, which is why they built it. It was built to be their first true 4K right out of the box. So you still have to buy the high-speed licenses.
Right.
So you have to buy all the other licensing crap that you have to buy from Alexa.
Yeah, you don't get all that stuff free. And people are complaining about a GH5 having all these things, and you just look at Alexa, and it's like going to a fancy steakhouse where everything's a la carte, versus the GH5 is like going to a Roadhouse or a Longhorn where, you get a steak, you get a salad, and you get a tater for only $5.99.
Yep.
Jeff, $5.99. Steak, salad, tater.
Sounds like Golden Corral.
Panasonic is the Golden Corral. That's not. You can't say that. That's Sony, bro. Sony's got that. Yeah, trash talking.
No. We are.
I was just going to quote
Golden Corral's GoPro.
Golden Corral is GoPro.
No.
That is 100% fact. There we go. I'll buy off on that.
It would be that, and then you have the outdoor wrestling right outside the front door.
Yeah, that's true. In Alabama, just FYI, at the Golden Corral here, which if you guys don't know what Golden Corral is, it's like an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's got troughs. It's a restaurant with troughs. Anytime you describe
a steakhouse with troughs.
It's a steakhouse with troughs. And seriously, out front, on the second busiest street in the city of Mobile is where they host wrestling matches, which, by the way, is the jam. I had a buddy go, and they spilled into the street. And again, wrestling is fake, but them spilling into the street was not fake. They're like, people were freaking out because they were almost getting hit by cars. It was insane.
Yeah.
That's entertainment, folks.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
That's awesome stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so of course now we have the Alexa LF for all of us to like dream about getting to at some point by just shooting our pants off.
It goes with the XT.
Take that however you want.
SXT,
yeah.
Multi-million, 100 different versions.
Yeah, I mean it's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I think it's phenomenal. I'm super excited for it.
Yeah. That's Alexa.
Yep.
Like the
so it's pretty awesome in that space. Yeah. So we're gonna jump in. I keep pulling my microphone because it's stuck under my foot.
See, yeah. Oh yeah, because I used the clamp. So it's sitting there, and then I actually.
Well, mine's up here. This is how I roll.
That's fine.
Yeah, I gotta have the flexibility, brah.
You can be lazy with it.
I gotta have the flexibility.
Whatever.
I don't have the beard rub problem. Your microphone's hanging down.
I went upside down this time, so the beard.
How does Jeff sound with his microphone upside down? I bet you sound a little muffled.
I bet I don't.
Yeah, I bet you sound muffled.
I bet I always sound muffled.
Yeah, well, that's probably true. All right, so while we're waiting, I added some new decks to the Cards Against Craft show. So we're going to just throw that up here real quick. Yep. Okay. So we're going to play a little game we like to call, let's get the Chatsky out of the way for a second. We're going to play a little game we like to call Cards Against Craft Show. And the way that works is we're going to present you guys a card. So we're going to burn this first one just so you understand. We're going to present a card about like this. Painting with all the colors of the wind. So you guys get to see this, we don't. Like I promise, we just don't look at them. It ruins the fun for us. And we will read a black card out loud. And there you go. And that's what you guys get from that. So here we go. And the first card, well, let me read the black card here first. In our game of Cards Against Craft Show,
minimize Google Chrome.
You're not going to believe this, but I'm from Craft Show. You've got to stop blank. You're not going to believe this. I'm from Craft Show. You've got to stop blank. So let's switch on over to the other camera here and keep it going live. Here we go. Pow. Not looking, not looking. There's the first one. You're not going to believe this. I'm from Craft Show. You've got to stop blank is the black card. There's number one. Number two. You're not going to believe this. I'm from Craft Show. You've got to stop blank. That's number two. Number three is, you're not going to believe this. I'm from Craft Show. You've got to stop blank. There we go. So while you guys kind of tally them up, here's number one again. Number one, the question is, the phrase is, you're not going to believe this. I'm from Craft Show. You've got to stop blank. There's number one. Number two, not going to believe this. I'm from Craft Show. You've got to stop blank. There's number two. And here's number three. You're not going to believe this. I'm from Craft Show. You've got to stop blank. And Palskis. So what you do is just throw your opinions over in the little Chatsky down there, and we'll see how that's going. We'll tally those up, in just a moment and reveal which card won as we kind of continue through our little manic, insane process. So one of the other things that dropped, we were talking about a Preston earlier. I'll get the old Chatsky box back up. Talking about a Preston earlier, and another product dropped out that we're pretty excited about. Yeah. Because we're Teradek owners. Is a new product from Teradek called the Teradek.
We're original Teradek owners.
Unfortunately, we're still original Teradek owners.
We are.
They released a new product called the Teradek RT. Hold on, I did not set these audios up right. It's so silly. I have to go find the right doodad. Give me 1 second, folks. There we go. Okay, now we can show you the photo. Pow. So this is the, if you look on the, just above the Chatsky box there is the little mount. That is the Teradek RT.
Yes.
Right?
That is the latitude part. It's the receiver called the latitude.
Right, they call it the latitude. Now why is that exciting for like red owners or stuff like that?
That one is built in as the side piece. It's actually, could be used for a number of things. The drone. It's a big thing. Yeah. But just it stays compact. It stays right on the side. It's actually built into the camera. Right. That way. And it's got a cheese plate on it.
It does have a cheese plate. Yeah, that's super awesome.
That's actually super exciting.
Being able to mount off of it and have it securely mounted would be phenomenal. So then we have the other one. Let me hide the Chatsky for this so you guys can actually see it.
Which I think this is actually going to become a big thing because Small HD did incorporate, into the 703 a bolt. Yeah. For wireless, for a director's monitor, I think you're going to see the two of them combine forces quite a bit.
So now you have the focus puller there, able to pull focus with their little monitor straight off the thing. It's all wireless. It's all like, because the Preston doesn't even have a screen, right?
No, and you can build it out and make it to where it has a screen.
But this comes kind of pre-built that way.
It kind of comes pre-built. It has the attachment already on it. Most people with Prestons build their own custom mount things.
I'd be using a Shogun or an Inferno or something. I'd be using an Atomos product for that.
Yeah. It comes down to it's 5-inch or 7-inch.
I just want the 7-inch screen.
I know a lot of people like 7s. Most of them I know that carry them with monitors on it have a 5-inch just because of the small size.
But that's that. I mean, it's a really cool device considering the fact that it just mounts and integrates directly into your red camera and
into Reds.
Into Reds easily. I'm sure it mounts everything else fine. But
they have other receivers that mount into the other cameras, but they don't integrate like they do with the Red. Right. And the Red is built specifically for that side.
Yeah. Is there any stats on it that you kind of came across that were pretty epic?
The biggest things I've seen is indoors. It says that it's 500 feet.
Wow. That's fantastic.
That's probably in ideal situations, not going through steel walls.
Our Teradek will just, it works sometimes, all of the non-times.
Yeah, if you have walls that have metal beams in it.
Sorry, that was a Teradek response.
That was. Yeah, because most Teradeks, as one other person in this group I know knows, Matt Banfield.
Matty B.
Yeah, he's here. Yeah, when you have a Teradek trying to wirelessly send a signal through a steel beam, it doesn't like to work.
No, that is totally fact.
Even if you're in the same room sometimes.
Yeah, it just falls. Yeah, we've had problems. We don't use it very much anymore.
No.
It's only on featurey type stuff.
Featuries are big client stuff to move around. If we have a lot of shots and we need to go from one spot to another spot really quickly, then it's, Video Village, usually on a big boy stand with wheels. Yep. Roll it, take the camera, done.
Yeah. Well, especially with the Sumo. I mean, that thing. If Atomos wants to really up the game, they incorporate that into the next Sumo scenario, like some kind of wireless receiver into a Sumo. That's game changing. That would be epic. Sorry, I'm so burpy.
Probably too late for Teradek, but
yeah, but there's other companies.
Yeah, Parallax. Yeah, probably do it.
Yeah, Parallax. God, I had some of those on a feature a long time ago. Golly, they were a beast. They were a pain to work with.
IDX makes those massive ones that we had problems with a long time ago, where they're the big blocks that post on the back. Yeah. Those work sometimes. Yeah. But
they're pretty rad tools. Aaron Collins, the real Aaron Collins, by the way, not a fake one.
Because, well, there is another Aaron Collins in this area at this moment.
Yeah, we do know another Aaron Collins who's a UPM. Aaron Collins asked, are we located and streaming in Southern Cal? We are actually in L.A. We are in L.A. is what we say. We're in lower Alabama. Yep. No, we are not. We're on the Gulf Coast. We're not in California. We're not in Cali. Sorry, bro.
And to the other Aaron Collins, if for some reason you're watching, no. Yeah. Matty B would get that. You'll get that.
Yeah, I already knew where you're going with it. All right, so what's the tally on our little gimmicks here? What do we got going on in the
3 clearly won.
3 clearly wins. All right, so here we go. I'm going to read the cards aloud here.
Got a
So
couple for one now.
the card was, you're not going to believe this, but I'm from CRFTSHO. You've got to stop blank. And card 3, number 1. Card 3 is the winner. That's how we say it.
Card 3 is the winner.
Card 3 is the winner. Here we go. You're not going to believe this, but I am from CRFTSHO. You've got to stop several Michael Keatons. That's brilliant.
That is pretty brilliant.
All right, so number 3 was good. Number 2, you're not going to believe this. I'm from CRFTSHO. You've got to stop cool 90s up in the front hair. Well, we do need to stop that. Jeff already did.
I'll stop that in the 90s.
You aced that one.
I did.
That's Jeff.
Real life right there.
That's real life. All right. You're not going to believe this. I'm from CRFTSHO. You've got to stop Patty Mayonnaise. Oh, Patty Mayonnaise. Yeah. I have a Aunt Patty who loves mayonnaise. That's a true story. Yeah. Well, it's Sarah's. Sarah's aunt. She likes mayonnaise. She has white hair. She kind of reminds me of Patty Mayonnaise.
There you go.
There we go. All right, well, there it is. Arts Against CRFTSHO. Arts.
Arts Against CRFTSHO.
Cards Against CRFTSHO. Brought to you, of course, exclusively by...
Arts Against CRFTSHO.
Brought to you by Polar... Polar brand water, straight from a bear's nuts.
Whoa.
What? Straight from a bear, it's nuts. That's what.
Okay.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it there.
All right. So in this next little segment here, I'm gonna pop the old Chatsky fix.
Oh yeah, we're going on to this other.
In this next little segment here, I was gonna talk about directing. So one of the questions I get a lot from my buddy Will and other individuals, they ask me about directing because a lot of filmmakers have done a lot of commercial content, or they've done kind of docu-style pieces, and I've just been asked questions about directing, and I kind of just wanted to throw some stuff out there. So let me preface this. The footage I'm going to show, I cannot show with audio because the audio, the dialogue itself, the script is copywritten. This was kind of like working with my buddy Phil, who you'll see, working in the scene, and so it is copywritten. So I will not be, there's no dialogue in these scenes that you guys get to hear yet. One day maybe, but in this I can't do it. They did let me show the footage, and what I did is I paired some music to it, and this is a shameless This is a shameless plug for Artlist.io. I don't know if you guys use that. Artlist. I think it's Artlist, bro. I don't know. Whatever it is. Artlist.io.
I don't have my phone, so I can't look.
It's in the description of the YouTube channel. Whatever it is, we use it and we absolutely adore it. And the reason I do love it so much is because for $200 a year, you get a boatload of songs for free, and you can use them on everything but radio and podcasts. So for any of our visual stuff, we're just ripping songs from it all the time, and they have a really great library that they update constantly. And yes, this is shameless, but the point of it is it's great music, and even some of it works from a narrative sense. Again, if I were really doing it, I would be pushing custom score, but you're talking about a different beast. Like if Chris Lott were here and you need custom score, you go to a composer to do that, so he's writing it to, and it is Artlist. Anyway, if you have a chance, check out Artlist.io. Of course, we got an affiliate link. I'm not going to be a jerk about it. It's there, but if not, just check it out. If you want to sign up for $200, get one client to pay for it, and then you profit off the rest. Exactly. Simple hack. Anyway, so I used some of that music to put the scene together. So what we're going to watch is non-dialogue, but it is all about blocking, and I'm curious to see if you pick up on some emotional states. Now, obviously, some of that will come through in performance, but we want to look at the blocking and how I push the actors, and we'll go back over the scene and kind of talk about them. It's actually 2 scenes put together. It's a little sequence. Tell me what you think the story is about in the comments when we get ready, or into the Chatsky, or in the comments, whatever you think. If you want to do it in real time, we'll see how it happens. But here's what we have for that. I'll let you guys take a preview. Heck, the actors haven't even seen this. So without further ado, here is a little short film we're just calling BB-8. Oh, feedback. So there we go. So that little piece, so what do you guys think it was about? What do you think the narrative is on it? It's not obviously super direct. There's not a lot of close-up coverage on it. That's not what the purpose of the scene study was.
True.
But it was about blocking and kind of putting things together in that capacity and kind of squaring things up. So a lot of what I kind of approached the scene was I got the segments of a script. It wasn't even a full piece. So it was like segments of a script, and we kind of sat down and looked at it. I didn't get a lot of time to do pre-pro, so this was a little bit rushed in some ways. I had to kind of move quickly, but from a directorial standpoint, I just simply knew that based on what the material was on and the history of the material, that it needed to have a little more of that docu sort of handheld vibe to it. So there was several scenes. Jeff did not work on that with me. It was an off day for Jeff, but there were several scenes where I would have loved to have had a dolly and really push it like super dramatic, but it would have actually pulled away a little bit from the construct of the narrative. Like in this piece, again, it's being so grounded in a very real world situation. It's based on a true story, so that the weight of that scene is very heavy, and I did not want to alter that. So what I opted for instead was, in working with the DP, was to make sure that, let me get the chat ski up just so it's there. Oopsie. There we go. In working with the DP, I just wanted to make sure that things were set up to give us that sort of handheld, loose flow about it. Yeah. Same way with the lighting. So everything in that was lit with one lamp, by the way, I would like to point out. Now, I did...
Or overheads.
Yeah. I mean, the overheads were part of it, but one lamp to augment and add a little bit of extra oomph to the sequences. Obviously using a lot of natural lighting and kind of keeping it that in that space. And we had a very short time frame to do it. But in the blocking element, the thing that we looked at is look at how we separate spacing between the actors. And some of these sequences all took place in a single office, but it didn't work for me. So what I wanted to do was kind of set up a feeling that there was, you know, a challenge of despair. There was a moment, because just like how you guys are seeing it, this just cut into scenes. Again, it was like scene selects. So cutting into those scenes, we needed to show some level of emotion. So if we kind of go back and look at some of no, it's fine if you didn't put them together. Sorry, Trev, I was reading the comments. Yeah. So if we're kind of going back and looking at it, this particular piece, this version should have me be able to talk. All right, so now we have him sitting there. We have Phil sitting there. He's kind of alone by himself. This woman walks up. It's an institutional looking building and has that institutional vibe. This has not been super graded. This has just got a LUT. One of the CRFTSHO LUTs just dropped on it, so it's pretty raw. He's standing there kind of lost in thought. She peeks back out to pull him in. Not for a comic beat, but just to kind of reinforce this idea that what she just told him was heavy. And here you can kind of see I set it up to shoot the 180 this way, and there's a bit of dialogue that occurs, and when we get intimate, I jump the line. And part of the reason why I jumped the line is because what she's saying flips his world around. He quite literally goes through an experience that changes his world. And it puts him in a whole different sort of situation. You know, his entire... Sorry, I'm just setting something up. His entire mind and his focus has to shift around, and Phil kind of drops that tear exactly where we went. I'm going to let this re-loop here. It should loop pretty good. So we end up back to where we were. So he thought he had a chance of change. It sets up the change. I'll re-loop it. Sorry. Dang, I am just breaking all kinds of stuff today. There we go. Now it should loop. So again, we're back in this institutional space. There's separation. As they draw closer, it seems like there's a connection that's going to form. She's obviously got you know, a pep in her step. She's walking with a lot of purpose. Dirtying him into the frame is just kind of that perspective of focusing the attention inward, leaving this emptiness, not putting an extra in, just letting it be barren, letting it be kind of heavy, so that when we go to this office type scenario, there's weight between them. You can see by body language that she's leaning forward. His posture's a little reserved back. And the same way when we jump the line here, she's intimately focused on him. She is driving attention in, versus if you watch his body language, he's reeled back just a little bit. Not enough to be like, oh my gosh, but enough to remove him from the information he's hearing. And then when he drops this tear, you can see that there's a complete weakness that falls out, and he kind of slumps even more. Again, keeping that blocking element, keeping the separation between the two of them being the key ingredient. and referencing that. So now look at her posture. Her posture is now upright and his is slumped over like he was in the beginning. So we've kind of gone back. So we set up that he was down, we see him stand, lost in thought, and then we lose that. So that's just in posture of the blocking. And part of that will come from your actors, but sometimes it's nice to kind of steer them and remind them of what they want to do. And I want to talk about another element inside of this. One of the things with directing actors in this space, and in this particular case, I was really fortunate that all three actors in this of this little sequence were phenomenal. But Phil gave me some really great emotion, and he was prepped to drop a tear and kind of get into that. But I really wanted to see how far we could push control of that one tear. And to do that, I quite literally kept pushing the take and made sure Phil felt safe. I made sure the set was quiet. I made sure it was focused. And I got him to hold that tear, and he quite literally held it. Emotional state. He lived in that state. I made sure that we worked together so he got into the state of ultimate sadness right when she hands him those documents. So when he drops that tear, that is a completely real moment for him when he touches those documents. That's the realest possible emotion he could have given us, and that is super crucial in your blocking side of making sure there's enough space, enough area around them that they feel comfortable enough to pull something like that off. And again, this is a drama scene. This is a very dramatic scene. It's a very big dialogue scene. And the point of those kind of big dialogue scenes and setting those kind of things up is just to like let people connect into it and let them zero in on it and let your actors have good space. There's an old Spielberg quote, I think it was Spielberg, that I read a long time ago that basically says that actors want to constantly find a state of rest, meaning they want to lean up against something, and sometimes that's very important to do and sometimes it's not. Sometimes you want to make them slightly uncomfortable, and in other cases you don't. Phil, in that particular instance, with that tear element, you know, I pushed him back and got him into this uncomfortable state emotionally. It didn't necessarily mean I had to do it physically. I got him in that state emotionally, and he was ready to go there, but he took it the rest of the way and delivered. Monica, on the other hand, had a great read from the get-go. Her instincts were spot on. We just amped it up. So if you hear, again, when you heard her voice, if you could hear her voice, one of the things that we pushed in is as she's leaning in, I had her bring up the cadence of both her speech pattern and the volume of her voice so that you start to understand what she is telling him is firm and it is important and he must be listening to it. And it has to zero in on what he's saying. So let me cue up this next little section here and we'll talk about the next section. So when we go into this next section, it's more about just general blocking of emotional connection. So I put a little see here, and this would be the first scene in the order. So if we were revealing him, I purposely put it out so I could talk about it, but this would be the first scene of the order. So let's look at this sequence again. Let's see. Go. There we go. So we're over the back of you know, this white individual here, and we don't really see. We can tell that the gentleman that stands up is probably African American, but we don't totally see it. So he's obstructed, and again, he's obstructed. That blocking was a choice. He's obstructed by what he believes to be the truth, and as he gets further into it, he's trying to find the truth through this character here, who's a law person of some sort. A lawyer, I guess you could say. And so as he engages in, he's got those documents in his hand, he's got emotion. If you watch his energy in the very beginning, he's dedicated, he's very serious about it, but then this lawyer is constantly sort of dismissing him. He's kind of just shooing him away. And Nathan came up with a great bit to kind of show a shoe off by, if you watch his hand, it's just a little bit out of frame, but he kind of gives him a shoe off point coming up here in a second. So you see a partial smile, you start to see that unfold. They're close, but they're not very close. If you look at that wide shot that we have with them, they have that distance between them. And then he's kind of lingering in this moment. What just happened? So we just started to show the separation. And I have a wide shot version of it, but his emotion on his face was way more important, so I kind of stuck with that. Actually, I should probably cut more of this ending out right quick, because it's just a big old black frame, isn't it? There we go. We'll loop it over again. Let's see if I can find the... There you go. Sorry, I'm just queuing it back up. There we go. So again, we have the obstruction, and as they get closer together, the scene is much longer than this. I just cut it down so we had some kind of reference point. But the scene plays, the emotion of the scene plays exactly the same. You can see him pondering. It's not a perfect cut because he's still wobbly there, but you just go with what needs to happen in that. We go into this office. It's cluttered. It's busy. It illustrates that we know that the owner's office, the guy sitting down there, we know that his office is busy, which probably means he's fairly cluttered and he's fairly busy. And you know that this gentleman coming in asking him questions, there's a distance between them. It's got that nice gap of space, but that distance between them represents the distance of connection of what he needs. So our hero character Phil wants something from Nathan, and Nathan is not willing to give it to him. He dismisses him and kind of shuns him out of the situation. And that's with visual blocking, right? And that's part of that's editing, but if you watch the whole scene and I cut it down that same way, you would get the sort of same effect. So the idea that we're trying to get across in this is that the importance of blocking, not just shot. You know, the shot itself is important, but understanding the blocking element of how these scenes are going to play out is really, really crucial. And sometimes it's really good to take the time to do a rehearsal, let the actors block it, let them play it out in their head, just let them watch the scene as they do, because sometimes their instincts are way more valuable than yours because they're living in the character way more than you are. So block it out with them, let them show you what they want to do in the take, just let it perform, and then you make the adjustments, thinking about your end user. You know, it's that the goal here is that you want honesty of the scene plus emotional stakes, and it equals your result. And so that's what you're after. And that little equation is kind of how I approach blocking from an emotional standpoint, from a narrative standpoint, how I want to really push it up. So the key is, let me backtrack. One of the instances that happened in this that was absolutely amazing is when they first start having that dialogue, and again, the scene's longer, I just cut it down. There's a bit where he's, you know, Nate is very dismissive of our buddy Phil, and Phil's in the yellow jacket. He's just very dismissive of him again and again and again. And eventually, Phil brings up, an amount of money. And when that money happens, you can see a character shift, body language-wise. He rotates his chair more open. He opens up to the lens more. Because we're over Phil's shoulder, it makes even more, he's opening to the audience more. And when that happens, suddenly Phil grabs a chair and slides it over and sits down. Well, that happened on a rehearsal, on the first rehearsal, when we were just walking through the scene. So it was great to take that little note, modify it, time it so it happens at the same spot every time, that we can replicate that so that everybody on set can see those same beats, that art department knows what to reset, the camera ops know where their focus points are, that all these other pieces will be together. The boom op knows where he can dip back into the frame and cheat, especially from like a wide to a close-up type perspective. So that blocking also affects how your team puts that project together, how the team around you is working cohesively to help execute, you know, the story, the director's vision, the producer's vision, whatever it might be in that sense. So that's kind of the blocking space, and I can go on for a lot longer about it, and I will. We'll probably do more directorial series where we kind of break down these scenes even further and talk about shot choices and other things, but I just wanted to give you guys, just think about blocking in the relationship. And again, that little equation I love so very much is kind of taken from the same thing we use in the commercial side, which is honesty plus emotional stakes equals results. And the result is what we want to get accomplished in that scene. So if you utilize that in your blocking, then when you add that same level into your shot structure and you're working with your DP, you add that to it. Or if you are a DP, just know this in your head, and maybe you can help influence the blocking of someone who's maybe not so super strong on it. And then you bring it into color, because the very same thing in here is I would actually desaturate some of this stuff.
Yeah, parts of it.
Yeah, and pull it back in and create another mood out of it. Because if you play that same thing and you get the right scene emotion, then it bleeds into everything else. Or not bleeds in, it becomes the blood, it becomes the life source of the narrative you're trying to tell. Yeah. So there you go. So that's blocking. We'll do more on it. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, whatever, throw them in the chatski or throw them in the comments below, or you can always shoot an email to drew@craftshow.com. Or if it's about color or technical or camera stuff, Jeff@craftshow.com.
Exactly.
There we go. All right, so that's kind of blocking. That's the blocking element, how we broke it down. Is there any questions that came out of that? I'm not totally sure.
Did. Question on framing.
Yeah, okay, I'll try and cover that.
Why you cropped out the top of the heads?
There's a couple things that happen. So sometimes having the headroom and the proper headspace works into your favor, and sometimes it doesn't. So I threw on just a little fake whatever, anamorphic
Blanking.
look. Yeah, blanking, thank you. I threw on a little fake blanking just to do it. And I could have reframed all the shots and adjusted all of those very easily. But typically I like to shoot right at the head range, and sometimes I crop off the head if I really want you to focus more on the eyes, and I want the negative space to be reinforced and driving your eyes to their eyes. And in this case, that's what I was after in certain aspects when working with the DP, was zeroing in on that eye-to-eye ratio. That was very important to me. The other thing that the DP did that I thought was pretty interesting is, if you watch it again, you could probably pay attention to it if you watch this again or whatever. If you watch Phil, anybody around Phil has a certain amount of light on him, but Phil has just about a half stop or sometimes a third of a stop more. He's lifted up more so that the shadow doesn't wrap around as much. It's really prominent in the scene with Monica. When he and Monica are talking, Phil's exposure and the light wrapping around Phil is much brighter. The only thing I did do is, not me, but the DP did, is put a topper over Phil's head so that it was cutting out some of the fluoros. So Phil gets a little bit darker, so he's more sunlit, versus Monica. Yeah. And then Monica's a little more, she gets some of that kind of hideous overhead light. Even though she's a beautiful woman, so it didn't really matter. But
yeah.
Phil's a beautiful man, so everybody wins. Nathan, you're beautiful too, buddy, in case you're watching. But we were able to kind of tweak it that way. So the shot structure comes down to the emotional state you're trying to achieve in the scene. And again, we decided to do handheld and shoot it kind of docu-style for the very simple reason that I wanted to convey this emotional stakes throughout the story, that it felt real. I wanted it to feel that way. This is a somewhat modern piece too, so the narrative in this takes place fairly modern times. The story does. So if you go back and look like a period film, like Hidden Figures, they used a lot of really well staged dolly shots.
Yeah.
That sort of verite look there doesn't work, and pardon the expression, but that's somewhat romanticized in terms of it's filmically romanticized versus this that is supposed to be more real, more modern, more gritty. Moonlight was more modern, more gritty. And and so you kind of look at those kind of narratives and you think about those terms when you start talking about shot structure in that way. There you go.
Yes.
Sailing Rewind is here. I see that.
Yep.
Drew just might be the next Scorsese. I think Marty's taller. Thank you, Sailing Rewind.
For the last time, no.
Trev says the acting was really strong, makes framing a lot easier. Framing requires good performances too, otherwise it's not as effective. That's true. But I mean, the other side of it is we decided to shoot that as much WFO as we could. So I mean, a lot of that was shot fairly wide open. I think everything, the ISO that we married was 400, so we lit for 400, and then we made sure to shoot everything at I think we were at a 2/8 split, so technically we were closer to a 2, I think, or 2/1, somewhere in there. But maybe it was a 2/8/4 split, so we were closer to a 2/8. But we tried to shoot everything fairly wide. That's why you get some focus drift a little bit when you get into that space. Yeah, I didn't have the beard with me. I didn't have the magic of the beard and his almighty focus pulling skills. All right, so that's blocking. We talked about the Alexa. We talked about
Teradek.
the Teradek.
Talked about DXL2.
Yeah, the Epic cameras.
The extra one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Black Magic put out a new camera.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Doesn't really matter to anybody in this channel though.
I don't know. We got Black Magic.
Yeah, it's a
broadcast camera.
Yeah,
that's
it's a
right.
broadcast channel.
Yeah.
Camera.
Anybody watch the Super Bowl in HDR, I mean?
I know one person that might have, but
it was
not here.
It was not MPEG.
Huh?
I asked him.
Okay, cool.
I just was curious if anybody saw it and saw that it was broadcast in HDR. It was just a personal question.
I did not.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I watched it on this type of screen. A phone.
Yep. Geoff, our good buddy Geoff, what lens did you use on the GH5? Yeah, because Jeff ruined it. I didn't. Could you tell that was GH5? Would you have known that was GH5? I think I said it, didn't I? I said I used the LUTS. But what lenses do we use? All right, that was shot with Zeiss CP2s. We used the 28. What did we pack? You packed them for me.
Packed everything but the 25.
Yeah, so I used the. We used the 28, the 85, and the 50. So those 3 primes. 28, 85, 50. That's all we used on those, and they were all fairly fast lenses. But yeah, that's kind of where we landed. That's exactly what we used on those.
Next question.
How did you decide which camera to shoot with? Well, this project was more or less for free. So they got to because of that, they did not get the red. How about that?
Yep. There you go.
I mean, that's the truth. I'm not going to put the hours on the red. If this were a short film that we were pushing out for a very public reason, I would have probably shot on the red because we own it, and why not? But this was more of a exercise and working on some scene language. It was a big, long process, a big project, but that piece was fine for the GH5 in that instance. Plus, I have that feature coming up, so I wanted to kind of see how it would handle feature workflow. Yeah. The only thing that happened that was negative is, well, two things. One, our Atomos Inferno Shogun Ninja Flame. What do we have? Shogun Flame.
Yeah, Shogun Flame.
The plastic on the bottom of that thing has broken away, so I had to help the DP mount the monitor upside down and flip it because the top level plastic doesn't hold up anymore, so we have to invert it.
Well, the top level does hold.
No, the top level holds kind of, yeah.
Because it's certain to break away too.
And then the other side of it was when we set up the camera, I forgot to show that individual to turn off the, or to change it to 1080p for Shogun recording as opposed to 4K, and so we filled up that card rather quickly.
Yeah, much quicker than you do an SD card.
Yeah, it was way quicker. But it was nice to have those 4K 422 files to play with. They're gorgeous. And looking at the footage side by side, I mean, it's not super dramatic, but it's dramatic when you compare those to, when you compare internal, this was not all I, this was C4K. But when you can compare the C4K to the ProRes, you can see a little bit of a difference.
There's a little bit, yeah.
It's not crazy, but it's enough.
It's not crazy.
It's enough to make it say sense.
Yeah. And I like the choice of breaking the 180 line.
Yep. Yeah, the CP series are good. There's some problems with them. They have a lot of chromatic aberration.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of aberration.
Yeah.
In the ones that I've used.
Yeah. We've tested them a good bit.
They are tack sharp though.
No, they're super sharp. Let me see if I can find this, and let me see if I can find this one thing.
Truth.
I'll throw something on here real quick. A feature that was shot with them. If you guys have any questions about stuff, feel free to ask. I'm going to see if I can find this doodad for us.
Jeff is absolutely correct. We have to get in touch with that. He says, can someone say warranty?
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work.
I don't either.
We've talked about this movie before, but I'll just show you guys this. I think it works. This was shot on those. I'm going to leave the Chatsky up. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to move it over. This was shot. This was shot on Zeiss CP2. So
I'm surprised you could find it that fast.
Yeah. Let me actually kill the audio because I don't want to get us hit in the head. Yeah, there we go. So we'll talk over it, but this was actually shot on Zeiss CP2s as well. So this is a feature we did. DP shot it like a beast. This is on the Epic, but still, or no, Red? It was Epic.
It was Scarlet.
No, it was all Scarlets?
Yeah,
because we rented the Epic for the one slow-mo stuff.
Yeah, for one.
So yeah, this was Scarlet and CPs, and it turned out pretty nice looking stuff. Like I think it's not bad. He's a master lighter, though. I mean, the guy shoots like a champ. But yeah, this is Zeiss CP2s. Yeah. They hold up really, really, really well. This is for a little bitty, like a lower budget movie.
Nice US saturation pops in there.
Yeah, this is. Jeff hates watching this trailer because it reminds him of the amount of color work we did and the 48-hour day, the 48-hour post day.
Yeah, it was that, and then also the one time in my career that I've been popped for 2 frames of quality control.
Yeah.
Out of the whole entire freaking movie.
Yeah. So yeah, you can see the lenses hold up. I mean, and we have a lot of looks coming out of this glass. Like
there's a lot of stuff.
When I was working with Kevin, I was just pushing it all over the place. I mean, we have looks, low light looks. I mean, we have looks for days. That's not us. That is us. This is a low light on a ship, low light on a set, explosions, slow mo. I mean, we put those lenses to the test. And again, the only downside of them is how sharp they are. We did cut around a lot of the chromatic aberrations that happen, but if you can afford a set of these are workhorse lenses. You can get a ton of throw on them and do that kind of thing, and it'll run like a beast. A little bit of grain
lens shots on to YouTube because I'd like to say you also can drop these on this.
Oh yeah, little Jeffy. This is you've heard the story, I'm sure you guys have, about the infamous lens drop. That's where this came from. It was not this movie, but
it was a CP2.
It was a CP2 that got dropped, and
that was a rental though.
Yeah,
it wasn't ours.
That's why you rent.
Exactly.
That's why you went. So there you go. So that's CP2. So we're with you, Aaron Collins. Looks good. Generation-wise, thank you, Sailing Rewind. Yep. Always a pleasure to see you. Always remember that one guy as the guy from Armageddon. Yep, that's Keith David.
Yep, pretty much.
Or David Keith.
Yep.
Keith David.
Just Keith David.
Yeah, David Keith's the other guy.
Yeah.
Which generation do you like? We have CP2s. I'm not a big fan of CP3s because in their own demo, I saw a lot of chromatic aberration.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten our hands on
CP3s. We have not played with them. And the biggest thing out of them seems to be the port, the data port. So
it's true.
Yeah.
No, I do like the CP2s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. A lot of people talk trash on them, but whatever. They did. They shot 2 features for us, and then tons of commercials and stuff. And most people don't know.
3 features for us.
No.
2 on Reds. CPs.
Phoenix. Suns. That's it.
No.
What?
Also did Skyhook.
On CPs? Oh yeah, you're right.
We did shoot the lens drop happened.
Oh, but the first movie we ever made that's not out anywhere was shot on T3Is.
Yes.
With size CPs.
Yes.
So to say, if anyone ever asks you again, can you make a feature on a little bitty camera? Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Because we did an entire 30-something day shoot on T3Is.
Yep.
Now we had 8 of them, and it was a completely insane experience. Yeah, we don't really talk about it. There you go. These aren't the Cine ones. These are the Cine ones are 1/8. So the Zeiss CP2s, they vary. If that's what you're talking about.
That's the
you're talking about the
Speed CP2s.
Yeah, the super speeds. These are the variable 2/1, 2/8, all that kind of stuff. The 18 is terrible. It's like a 3/6 or something.
Yeah, I think they're talking about Vajras over there.
Yeah, I think they probably are. All right, well, I have a boatload of things to do, and I have to get back to work. Jeff, we'll both keep the chat ski open. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot them over. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share if you haven't already. Thanks for joining us on the live stream. We try and do it every Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, thanks you guys for hanging out. We truly appreciate everything. Chatski's still open. If you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, throw them in the box down below, or you can always shoot an email to Drew at craftshow.com or Jeff at craftshow.com.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it.